Chef Jessica here. I'm going to try this again. I started a live and I got disconnected, so I'm starting all over. Here I am. I want to talk to you and those of you who are interested in starting a chef business. I am Chef Jessica Leibovich, and I have had a successful personal chef business since 1999. I officially opened my business as a sole proprietorship January 1st, 2000. I have changed the structure of my business several times, so I'll talk about that in the class. But what I really want to talk about today is helping those of you decide who are on the fence if starting a personal chef business is right for you. Because I understand starting a new business can be scary, and there's a lot of things to weigh, there's a lot of decisions to weigh. So it's really important for you to kind of know all the different aspects to make that decision, to see if it's right for you. The food and beverage industry is changing so much right now. It's tough. It's a tough world out there, and it always has been tough. I've worked in the restaurant industry. I left my business in 2018 through the middle of 2021. And then I ran back. I would have come back sooner, but I was nervous to go back during a pandemic. So I really tried to make it work, and I also felt like my teams really needed me. But ultimately, I could not sacrifice my mental and physical health and well-being. It is a completely different life working as a personal chef than it is working in the restaurant industry. There's really so many differences. It does help you in a lot of ways if you have experience, but it's not necessary. It's not something that you really need to have. What you really want to consider, a couple things. So first of all, you want to look at the areas that you live in. Do you live in a major metropolitan area, or are you in a more rural area? If you're in a more rural area, it may be a little bit more challenging initially to find clients, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the clients aren't there for you. These days, hiring a personal chef is becoming more and more common. There's a lot of reasons for this. First of all, people are eating out less. Those of you, I'm sure most of you know, it's gotten really expensive to go out to eat. And not only that, the quality is completely different than it used to be. And that's because restaurants have to cut corners. It used to be cheaper for a restaurant to purchase food than an individual like ourselves, but actually now it can even be more expensive for restaurants than it is for individuals. And that's for a variety of different reasons, but companies like Cisco and US Foods are dealing with challenges like staffing and gas and overhead, and so they have added those costs onto their clients, and their clients have to add them onto the consumer. So I may be able to get an avocado at the store for $1, but if a restaurant has to pay $1.50 for it, then if I pay in a restaurant, I'm going to end up paying $3 for that same avocado. So in that respect, personal chefs have actually become a lot more affordable for the public. And so it's totally different than when I started, where it was really looked at as sort of a luxury to have a chef, where nowadays for some people it really is a necessity. So that's what you want to look at. You want to look at the people who are by you, and the people, I'm going to see if I can't tell if I can see, sorry. You really want to look at the people who live in your area and look and see if there's a need for your services. And chances are there are. So getting started, that's what you want to look at. Now, you want to look at your income potential. And that is going to be different for everybody. But I make over 6 figures now. I have for a while. And when I first started, I think my lowest year was maybe like $65K. Now, that was a long time ago, but a lot of you would be happy with that income, especially compared to what you're working at in a restaurant. And you have to understand, if you're making 65K as a personal chef, you're not working 40 hours a week. So the income potential is a lot better than a lot of jobs in the food and beverage industry. Now, how do you figure out how much you can make? Maybe you need to make, let's say you need to make $80,000. So you need to take that on a monthly basis and figure out how much of that is each month that you're going to need to bring in. Now, let's say you need to bring in $7,000 or $7,500 a month. Then you want to figure out how many clients do you need to get to $7,500 a month. Now, that may sound like a lot of money to you, but actually, as a personal chef, you can easily get there with just 4 clients. And it's easier than you think because you are really helping your clients long term. So when you're looking at your income potential as a personal chef, really it's up to you and how many clients you want and how you want to structure your pricing. And you have to make sure you're pricing correctly, because if your pricing is too low, you're going to end up working harder than you need to work. For example, I know people who charge $250 for a smaller service and then charge $500 for a regular client. In my opinion, they're doing themselves a disservice, because then they have to take 2 clients a day to make as much as they would make just by taking 1 client a day. So you should never make less money if you have 2 clients a day than if you have 1 client, or even the same amount. You should always make more. And these are things that, I talk a lot about when I'm coaching people. So when it comes to your income potential, really the sky's the limit. And the great thing about being a personal chef is you really get to just decide on your schedule and what works for you. So if you have to take your kids to school in the morning, if you have to pick them up, if you have a doctor's appointment, if you need to travel for whatever reason, you're really able to do that. And you're able to do that and work around your schedule. Now, you won't get paid for your time off unless your client agrees to that, but that's something that you can work into your client billing, where you work around that if you need to. So there's pluses and minuses, but at the same time, you are able to really afford yourself a great lifestyle, a great schedule, and you're working a lot less than in the food and beverage industry. Now, what does it take to get started? To get started, the best thing is you really don't have any overhead. There's very few businesses that have no overhead. And you're looking at other service industries as a comparison. So you do not compare yourself to a food truck. That is not what we do. We are a service-based industry. It's very similar to like a housekeeper or an organizer, somebody who comes in your home and does services. It's between you and the client. It's not unless you are selling food to the public, that's a different story. If you are just cooking for you and your client, that's how the service works. It's a service-based industry. So it allows you a lot of freedoms. And if you're wondering, okay, how am I going to get started? How am I going to get going? You start little by little. And I'm going to be talking about in the event I have coming up, how to get clients, how to reach out to your clients, and really how to make it happen. And you really have to think outside of the box. It's not just about social media. It's not just about a website. Those things are really great, but it's about being visible in front of people who need your services. It's about building your confidence in your services so you can talk about what you do and you can share about what you do and you can show the results that you're going to give to your clients. So what does that mean? Let's say your clients want to eat healthier. Now, one of the things that personal chefs really help with is families. So families have many different tastes. One person may love to eat, spaghetti and meatballs. One person may be a vegetarian. One person may not like potatoes. These are all different things that if they were to go to a restaurant, they would not necessarily be able to have accommodated for them. Now, as a personal chef, they have all their needs accommodated. And that's what you want to think about. Can you provide that high level of service to your clients? Because it's a high level service. And if you've ever paid for a high level service, you want to get what you pay for. And so people want to be served in a way that they feel they deserved. If they're paying for a personal chef, they want to get that high level of service. So it's not just about being a great chef, it's about being a good listener and listening to the needs of your clients and saying, can you make that happen? Can you provide them with the services that they're looking for? And the great thing about it is there's so many ways that you can kind of fill the gap in your income while you're starting your chef business. This is a gig economy these days, and so things like InstaWork, DoorDash, what are some other things like Uber, all of those things are great ways to supplement your income while you're starting your business. If you are working as a sous chef or if you're working as a line cook, it's going to be really difficult for you to start your business on the side because you're just going to be too busy and too tired. But you get one personal chef client, and sometimes that's equal to an entire week's worth of your paycheck. And once you start bringing in those clients and you start giving that high level of service, it feels so good, you'll never want to go back to the restaurant industry again. And you don't necessarily need to have professional experience. You don't need to be a professional cook. It's definitely helpful, but I know many people who've been successful in this industry and they have no professional experience. So it's not necessary, but you definitely can supplement your income while you're getting started. And then just getting a few clients, you have to do that less and less. And that's how I help people. I really help you be targeted and stay on track and make sure that you are reaching out to people correctly, that you're not wasting time or marketing ineffectively. Because if you market ineffectively, it can get really frustrating and you can get burnt out. And you can market and actually make money while you're marketing. And so how can you do that? You can potentially go to places who will pay you to talk about your services, like health fairs, wellness programs, schools, things like that. I mean, I have people reaching out to me to go speak at their location, and I just don't have the time. It is, when you tell people you're a chef, people get so excited. They love it. They're like, oh, really? What do you do? What do you cook? And then when they hear you're a personal chef, that's like, for some reason, that they get even more excited about that. It's like, oh, that would be my dream job. And people want to hear about it. You want to position yourself as an expert in your community. And it might be a fake it till you make it in the beginning, but there's a reason that you're getting into this. There's a reason that you want to do this. You obviously have knowledge to share. You obviously have a passion for it. And if you feel that you would be good at it, it's probably there's a reason for that. So one of the things that's really popular for personal chefs is things like special diets. Now, when I first started out, I had just graduated culinary school. I went and did training in France. And then I worked for a high-end caterer as a sous chef. We did like bake our own bread. We did all our own, everything was prepared fresh there. It was a great learning experience for me, but we definitely did not cook healthy food. I had never even really heard of gluten-free until I started my personal chef business. And then once I started, after a year and a half, I started getting more and more requests for health-focused clients. And they could be anything from a single mom who had cancer to she wanted to eat all organic, or she wanted to get rid of all of the chemicals in her food. And then I've had a client who, tons of food allergies. I had a client who was ketogenic for epilepsy long time ago, before the keto diet was popular. And there's many, many different things that I've had requests for. Now, did I know anything about the ketogenic diet for epilepsy when I was hired as a personal chef for that? At the time, it was brand new to me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to learn and willing to do the research to, see this client through and help them get their long-term results. And that's really what it's about. It's not about what do you know now. It's about what are you willing to learn, and what are you willing to research, and what are you willing to really commit yourself to and help your clients achieve. You are such a supportive person for your clients. You are part of their team. You are helping them through many challenges, and it feels really, really good, but it's also a bit of responsibility. So, I'm sure if you work in the food and beverage world, you have responsibilities. So you're okay with those responsibilities, but it's just you and your client. It's not the overwhelming stress of managing an entire team or having these things like, somebody didn't clean their station, or the order didn't show up, or the temp logs weren't filled out, or somebody's complaining in the dining room because they want their steak's not cooked properly. It's not about these things. It is different. It's about hand in hand working with your clients to achieve long-term results and helping them achieve long-term results and really making the effort to do that. So there's no cutting corners as a personal chef. And that's something that I talk about a lot. You can't just wing it. You have to really be focused and organized and know what your client wants to achieve. And this is really achieved by your nutritional assessment. So if you have a good assessment that asks all the right questions, and that's something that I help with as well, you literally can read their assessment and know, what are they looking for? What do they want to achieve? And you are their partner to help them that. So they need to trust you. So, it's not just about being a good cook. It's about being a good listener. It's about being focused, willing to do the work, willing to do the research, and helping your client. And if you can do that, you really can be a great personal chef and be successful long term, because by getting your clients results, they're going to talk about it, and then you get word of mouth clients. And the number one best way to get clients is through word of mouth. So being a personal chef, there's not a ton of risk to it. There's no overhead to get started. When I first started, I thought I need to buy pots and pans. I literally used to bring everything to my client's house. I even would bring paper towels. I don't do that anymore. I use my clients' items. I, just show up with the groceries. So there's no overhead. There's really nothing that you need to do to get started other than to get your materials ready, to get your menus ready, to really work into figuring out how you're going to be visible in front of your potential clients, and really know what it is that you want to provide to people. What are your strengths, and what do you feel comfortable working with people for? You need to be a trustworthy person, though. You should not be working in people's houses if they don't trust you. So that's something that you want to think about. Can they trust you in their homes? Can they trust you with their information? Can they trust sharing their health information with you? That's so important. You are going to be their partner. You're going to know a lot of stuff about them, and they need you. They need you for success. And ultimately, that's how you gain long-term success, by helping them so much that they can't live without you. And once they can't live without you, then you have a long-term client. I've had clients who were with me for 15 years, for 17 years, 12 years. Many of my clients stayed with me many years, because I was committed to their results. And I still am. It's my job. Just as much as you're committed to getting up and going to work every day is how much I was committed to their results. And your clients are allowed to be high maintenance. Your clients are allowed to have demands. You are not allowed to be high maintenance as a chef. So sometimes I will coach chefs, and they want to put all of these requirements for their clients. And that's really not the best way to get your clients to work with you long term. It's really about communicating with your clients. And you can communicate your expectations without necessarily being high maintenance or being demanding as a chef. Now, they are hiring you for a high level service. So can you provide that high level service for them? And if you can, and they feel like they're really getting results and you're giving them the results that they need, then you can keep them for many, many, many years. I've had clients that I literally could have probably put one of their children through culinary school with as much as they paid me, but I was indispensable to them because I helped them so much, and the results that I gave them were so important to me. I wanted it just as much as they did, and that's how you really can be successful. If this all is resonating with you, I got a couple likes, but I don't see any comments, so I don't know. I don't know if anyone's watching, but if this is resonating with you, if this sounds exciting, then you probably would be a great personal chef. If you're thinking, I can't do this, this is not me, then maybe you need to reevaluate it. But at the same time, sometimes it can just be a confidence issue. And a lot of times it's confidence, we have to do it just one time and then our confidence grows. So we may feel like it's harder than it is, and sometimes just doing the act of getting a client and creating that result for them, it boosts our confidence. And so I would hate to see somebody feel like that they can't do it if it's just a confidence issue, because confidence can be built, confidence can be learned, and there are so many people out there who need your help. It is more popular than it ever has been for personal chefs. If you just Google it, you can see the pandemic has really increased the need for personal chefs. People are eating out less. They're not loving the results they're getting from restaurants. They need to change their diet for whatever reason. But by getting a diet from a doctor or nutritionist, they are not going to necessarily tell them what to eat. They just give them the protocol. And so it can be really hard for people. If you are given a protocol by a nutritionist or a doctor and you're not a chef, it can be very overwhelming. And so to have a chef, you're providing that solution for people. You're helping them so much that you become indispensable. So if I don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. But I am going to be having an upcoming event next week where I'm going to be giving step-by-step instructions on starting your chef business. I'm going to be showing how to price your chef business. I'm going to be showing how to create a proper assessment for your business. I'm going to be showing how to work with people with special diets. I'm going to be showing how to find clients in your area. This is all stuff that really needs to be taught privately. It's highly valuable. So I've had a lot of interest in this event. I hope that those of you who are interested are going to show up, or if those of you who say you're going, please register. It will be, I do have an early pricing discount that ends today. So the link is posted. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm going to be sharing tons of information in this event. It's a 2-hour event. We may go over slightly. It may be a little bit longer than 2 hours, but I will be sharing a ton of information, and you will be getting a replay. So if you cannot stay the whole time or you cannot make it, you will get a replay with all the information. There's nowhere else that you're going to get all of this information for starting a chef business at this price. Right now it's less than $85. If you get one client, that's about 6 times that amount just on one cook date. So it's definitely providing a high level of value. That's what I want to do. And my results for my clients is very important, but also my results for my coaching clients is very important. I am super passionate about helping people start a business that really allows them to spend more time with their family, to make more money, because my short time as an executive chef and a food and beverage manager, the 3 years and 9 months that I did that, and then my time back in the late 90s as a sous chef, I just see how physically exhausting it is and how taxing it is and how much companies really take advantage of their employees. It's unfortunate that we're treated that way. I don't think it's sustainable, and we'll see what happens. but honestly, there's a better option for you. And if being a personal chef sounds like something you might want to do, please feel free to reach out. Let me know if you're interested in my event. If you really want to attend the event but can't make the date, again, there's going to be a replay. So I hope to see you there, and let me know your questions.